Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Liam, the Prove It Guy, author of Limitation Is A Mirage. In this podcast, I will be sharing with you actionable tips, routines, and insights that I have gathered over 20 years of extensive study with masters, experts, and world-class performers. My hope with this podcast is to save you time, money, and frustration, helping you fast-track your way to mastery. Welcome to this episode of the Limitation Is A Mirage podcast. A lot of people ask me where I come up with my ideas for the podcast, where I come up with my ideas for content. So that's what I thought I would talk about today. And the easiest answer is from my life. And you've probably noticed, not the people listening, but the people watching, that I've got fancy headphones. So hopefully they're working as I want them to work. It kind of sounds like I'm in an aeroplane at the minute, so it might take a wee bit of getting used to for myself. But it's nice to not be attached via any wires, kind of like the Matrix. But now I'm out of the Matrix or whatever. So the answer is my life. So this week I've chatted to different clients. I've chatted to old mentors of mine and current mentors of mine. So we end up talking about different areas of my life. So the podcast that came out, the bonus one that came out on Sunday, was with Marika. And if you watch that, you'll see that we're just talking about the things that we got up to during the session and the madness that unfolded in it, some of the questions that I asked, some of the things I got up to. And then Sunday's bonus podcast, spoiler alert, is Tom Lamont. He was my Wing Chun instructor and then became a mentor, and we started working on different things for the last 14 to 16 years. I know that's a massive gap, but I can't remember how long it is or when it was. I think I was about 21 when I started with Tom, but not 100% sure. Might even be earlier. Don't know. If anybody does know, feel free to let me know. The goal behind everything that I do is longevity. Like, I always want to improve my life, my position in life, so that I can have a better, longer life for me and the people around me. It's why I surround myself with people who do extraordinary things all the time. So I just don't want someone that's went and done martial arts for a while, one hour a week for a few weeks or a few years, and became quite good at it and then stopped. And then when I talk to them, I always refer to them as armchair black belts or armchair karate men or whatever it is, because they don't live the life that they used to, or that they aspire to, or that they think they do. They just did some martial arts. It'd be like if I considered myself a artist because I did some art in school before getting kicked out in second year, which I'll come back to. So I suppose that's a good example of how I end up talking about what I talk about. My brain works very fast. I'm talking about the mentors and all I'm around. So that's where my content and all comes from. Like today's content about deciding to be who you want to be, and then telling whatever else comes up that doesn't actually fit with your goal, your dream, whatever you desire, just tell it the fuck away off. That's how I believe. It's why I avoid things that I don't think are going to bring me closer to where I want to be. And then I go on to tangents of stories. So everything that happens to me has happened in the past is what has got me to where I am now and who I am now. And the story of when I just randomly talked about thinking I was an artist. When I was at school, before third year, up in first to third year, I was not bad at school. I just wasn't good. I didn't really do anything. I didn't want to be involved, didn't really care. But art, for me, art was supposed to be about expressing yourself. I was shit at art. I still am. But it was all about expressing yourself. Drawing art. I'm good at like martial arts, but not art. It's all about expressing yourself. So I didn't really think you could go wrong whenever you're drawing an apple. It's your version of what you see as reality. Even before I knew about any of this other hypnotherapy or NLP or anything, I just figured, well, how I see it is different from how you see it. That's just how our brains work. I didn't know that I was right at the time. I just thought I was just defending my shit art. But I remember my teacher in second year, my last time ever being in his class, we had to draw a witch and paint it. It was probably for Halloween. And I drew a witch, and he was going around all the people and saying stuff about each witch, and he got to mine, and he was like, this is terrible, Liam. And I was like, thanks. And he was like, so he took my thanks as me being a smartass, but I wasn't being a smartass. I thought a witch that was terrible was good because they're supposed to be all like scary and like grotesque. But he was like, no, the actual art is terrible. And he was so disgusted, he just put me out of the class. And that was the last time I was ever allowed in an art class. I never went back in for the next 2.5 years of being in St. Pat's. So for anyone from St. Pat's, it was the taller art teacher, not the smaller art teacher, just so you know who I'm talking about. And you probably have stories related to him that feel free to let me know of them. I love hearing old St. Pat's stories. So in my head, I was being creative. I was like unleashing my inner thoughts of what a grotesque witch would look like. And that's kind of how I've lived my life, my whole life. When I was younger, I didn't know that I was doing it. My outward expression, my excitedness, and my over-the-top reactions to things, and my ability to just get myself stuck into things sometimes I shouldn't have been stuck into. Sometimes other people should have been doing it but were afraid to do it, or whatever it was. Just the fact that I would just go headlong in. I didn't know that back then it was me trying to discover who I am, who I want to be, and what I want to do. So whenever you're thinking about creating content, I think it's Gary Vee that says that don't create, document. It's all well and good for him because he travels the world and he's a multi-millionaire and he's doing all these fantastic things. So if you're just sitting in Oma, for example, and you're thinking, well, what am I going to document? There's nothing amazing in my life. Your life is amazing because it's unique to everyone else's life. The way you react to certain things are different from how other people would react. And I think that's what's made me so approachable when it comes to doing social media content, when it comes to podcasts. That's why all my mentors become mentors/friends. You have to find a balance. There's no point becoming too friendly with your mentor because then they fall off that pedestal, or they're not as, like, they won't teach you as hard, I suppose is the way. They're not as hard on you because you're the friend and they don't want to have to deal with you outside being all moany whenever they were stricter with you. So I think there's a fine line and balance between being overly friendly with your mentor, but I think you should find your mentor to be a friend of yours as well, which further proves my point about wee tangents. My brain works very fast, so that's why I brought that back in. Like, I remember when I was PT, and I used to say, like, my students always became close, and some of them would come to my house and watch movies, or would go to the cinema, or would go out for dinner and things. And then when they came to the actual PT session and they would start moaning about their day, I would cut them short and say, look, outside of this hour, or however long it's going to be, I'm your friend, and I really want to hear about your life, and I want to help you with that particular problem that you want to moan about. But because it's not relevant to what we want to achieve and what you're hiring me to do, I'm not your friend in here. I am your PT, your coach, your trainer, whatever it happened to be. So we would just do the session, and after the session we'd talk about whatever it was. And again, most people didn't want help with their work problem or their relationship problem. They just wanted to moan about it to someone that was going to listen. But that wasn't my job as a PT. My job was to get you the results that you asked for. And that's why I was known to be a bit strict, and my sessions were a bit hard because I would just drive people towards their goal. I've talked about it a lot recently about how I believe that a goal or desire will outdo motivation every day of the week. If you're looking for motivation, then if you don't find it, then you'll waste your day, or you'll not do whatever it is that you're going to do. You'll not take that step further towards your goal. Whereas if you just focus on your goal, on your desire, on your dream, that overrides everything. Like recently, there's a video, I talked about it on a video. I didn't want to go to the gym on, it might have been Friday, but I procrastinated for hours. Like, I did about 4 hours. The reason I did the video was because people always ask me, how am I so motivated all the time? How am I so driven? How do I get up and just do the things that I do all the time and love it? Sometimes I don't love it. Sometimes it's shit, but I know I have to do it because it'll help me achieve my goal. So I did a video about that, saying about motivation, how looking for motivation externally isn't going to drive you all the time. You can find it sometimes, but it's not going to get you there. You have to have the dream, the goal, the desire. Like, no matter how much I looked for motivation when I was in London, I was never going to find any that allowed me to be kicked in the balls. That just wasn't going to happen. on stage and in front of loads of people as well. So I had to think about what was the desire. The desire was to get back behind the secret curtain of the Iron Shirt training, and part of the Iron Shirt training was getting kicked in the bag. So I allowed that to happen because that's what I wanted to. My desire, my dream, my goal outweighed the motivation to protect my groin. If you haven't seen me do that, my TED Talk, you'll see me get kicked in the bag. Or anytime my brother comes on stage, he pretty much there's like a 95% chance he's going to kick me in the bag at some point on the stage. So where was it? My brain works very fast. And how to make content, or why I come up with the content, or like how did I come up with the idea for this video. I have like a bullet point list plan. It's down here beside me on the iPad. So it's just to keep me a bit on track so I don't go flying off the handle and talk about 50 different areas of my life. So my content comes from my life. So what you see is what you get. When you see me pumped, probably because I'm doing something that makes me excited or psyched. When you see me relaxed and switched off, like on Sunday so I've done 19 live qigong classes on my Facebook page, on the other Facebook page, the coach one. Because of lockdown, and my class couldn't obviously get to me because we were locked down. And then on Sunday, I just opened it up and I said, look, I'm going to be in the Glens. I go to the Glens once or twice a week. I'm going to be there at 2 o'clock, and if anybody wants to come and join me. So the people that come and join me there, they see me relaxed and pretty chilled out because I'm about to do something that I find super relaxing and that actually chills me out. Whereas if I'm in the gym, you're going to see a completely different version of me. So you don't have to have one version of yourself. You have many different aspects of who you are and the way you live your life. Like I'm not always the super psyched pumped guy. I'm not always the relaxed guy. I'm not always the happy guy. I'm not always the Reiki master or the martial artist. I'm all of those things and more. But I try to live my life based on improving every area of those because I know they are what are going to help me achieve my dreams, goals, and desires. So that's when it comes to me creating content, I'm just documenting what I do. When I finish in the gym, like I know for a fact tomorrow after leg day, I will feel completely different after than I will get in. So if I did a video before I went there, how excited I am for going to do leg day and how like ready for blah, 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 blah. Once I do legs, it's going to zap my energy. It's going to really wear down the internal energy. The central nervous system is going to be taxed. I'm going to be tired. I'm going to be hungry. And it's not a hectic session. It's just a heavy session. So the video after that, it will look like two different people. One is, I might actually do this if I ever remember to do it. I think Sean and Mark are coming tomorrow as well. So one of them will remind me. Somebody will remind me or something will remind me. Either way, I'll try to do it before and after. Just so you see the difference in when I'm fully energized and stuff. But when I go home, I'll either eat and meditate, or I will do a wee bit of relaxing work, or I'll do a bit of reading or something just to switch off. And then I just go back to normal again. If you saw me before, I'm setting up the podcast. I set everything up, and then I sort of bounce around the room a wee bit because I want a bit of energy to do this. So I want to try to deliver the best, most excitable content that I can, because that's the type of podcast I like to listen to and watch, is people who are a bit more energized. I don't want to see the ones that are very relaxed, because it's not why I watch them. I watch them to gain information and to move forward in my life. So that's why I jump around the room a wee bit. And it's why I changed to headphones, because when I have a mic, I'm sort of restricted in my movement. But with the headphones on, I'm able to move and talk and just be a bit more excitable. So if you are thinking about trying to create content, don't make it about numbers, or don't make it about views, or like, I would much rather 10 people watch this podcast who like it and are interested in what I have to say than 1,000 people taking a look at it. I want people to learn and grow. I don't want people just to give me a like and a share. I don't really care about that. I used to at the start, because when I started, this was at the start of the social media hype, and everybody was trying to like grow and everything, and that's what it became about. It seemed to be like everybody was making content based on getting numbers, getting people to like it, rather than just stuff that you like doing. I know personally if I watch this back, I would enjoy watching it because I'm telling me stories about how I got to where I am, why I am the way I am, and things like that. So this is what the idea of my middle of the week podcast, my Wednesday podcast, is just me telling stories and just showing people that I am who I am. Popeye the Sailor Man. I am who I am. I'm this guy all the time. Everyone that is around me will see it. When you meet me at events, like I went for a walk with a mentor the other day, last week some stage. We walked around a lake, and then whenever he sat down, he asked me after about the third sitting. After about the third time he sat down, he was like, "Do you ever sit?" I was like, "Not when I'm outside." And like I've drove here, so I was sitting there, and I'm going to drive home. I'm sitting, so I'm moving about and I'm stretching. I'm just enjoying being outside. A load of people went and climbed a mountain the other day. Vicky was one of them, and a few other ones. And I was asked to go, and I was saying, like, as rude as it is, I go to nature to get away from people, to be on my own. Or I don't mind being with a few people. If you ever see me in the glens with people, 90% of the time they're slightly ahead of me as we walk, and I'm just strolling behind. That's what people find funny when they do meetings with me that are outside walking. They expect that we're going to take off at like a fiery pace, and then I just stroll, I meander. Would that be the way? I just walk quite slow through the outside, because again, I've nowhere I have to be. I'm not trying to achieve anything or do anything. I'm just trying to absorb nature and just I like being out there. So I don't live my life for anyone. I live my life for my goals, my dreams, and my desires. I want to get to a certain place in my life. So everything else I do has to get me there, and so it has to be directed towards that. So that's what I want you to think about whenever you're watching any of my content. Why is he instead of thinking why is he doing that? Like you want to think about what would you do if you were in my situation and you had just went to the gym. Are you going to try to do a video to promote people to go to the gym, or just to talk about how awesome you are, or what's your goal with a video? So my gym goal is to show you that you can go, like the last video was to show you can go whenever you want to, when you don't want to. It's like I don't regret any gym time I went, and I've had some terrible injuries at fight training in the gym. But I still don't regret going there. I learned a lot from my injuries and from that actual training. So think about, when it comes to your content, what is it that you want to achieve with it? How does it improve your life first? Then, is it giving anything back to the person that's given their time? Like you're giving about 20 to 25 minutes of your life to me on this podcast. So I want to make sure you take something away from it, even if it's just to be slightly entertained by how shit I was at school and how terrible my witch was. I think he actually called it the worst witch he's ever seen, which again I thought was amazing because there was a TV show called The Worst Witch. So it's his fault really that I didn't understand what he was talking about. But I'm pretty sure now if I went and tried to draw a witch now, I would be super awesome, amazing at it, because I really understand what he meant there, because his teaching was amazing. He didn't just throw me out of the class. He explained I was shit first and then threw me out and told me never to come back. Well done. So that's probably why I put so much effort into teaching people. If I think you're shit at something, I'll tell you you're shit at it, but why, what you need to do, and how you can improve so that you become better at it. Another wee tangent. So like I said at the start of this, my brain works quite fast, and I seem extra psyched today for some reason. So just wanted to end on there. Whatever it is that you want to do, find a goal, find a dream, find a desire to get that. That will override motivation any day of the week. So thanks again for tuning in. Have an amazing day, whatever you get up to, and I will speak to you on the next podcast.